This past weekend, I watched this superhero show that had been brought to one of these streaming networks and done in a longer form for television. But it was such a powerful, unexpectedly powerful story where this superhero, out of their grief for having lost, well, their brother earlier, both their parents, and now lost their loved one, just in their grief, it came exploding out of them with superhero power, and it changed an entire village around them. And this superhero found themselves stuck out of their own grief in some old television sitcoms from various decades. And that sounds kind of silly, but at the same time, it was really creative and interesting. And it was powerful for me when I realized that all of the things that we were seeing were being created out of the grief of this superhero. Just a really interesting concept. And there was a line, one of the wise characters said, basically said this: the grief is love persevering, which is so beautiful. But I could relate to it in a very personal way. I found myself getting very emotional at a superhero show. Emotional. Of course, I'm kind of easy to get there anyway, but I was getting emotional because of the impact of what it said about grief, how it changes our world around us, and sometimes we can get stuck in safe places trying to avoid the pain of the grief. You know, I have experienced more of that grief than I ever thought I would. Lost more people than I ever thought was possible before a relatively young point in my life. And I get that. Grief is such a remarkably changing thing. But I've learned how to take a blessing out of grief for myself. And I want to bless you with that today, in case I haven't done that before. I want to bless you that God will turn your grief into something positive, that out of your grieving, like for me, out of my grieving, I try to learn something so I can help others. So may God bless you with something that you can take away out of your grief, whether it's something you learn, maybe it's a piece of love that you've discovered, or something fresh that you discover in your grief that you can use to bless somebody else, because when we bless others, we are blessed in return. So there you go. May it happen for you, and may it be so in the name of Jesus.